Hey guys, it's Alec Torelli. Welcome back to an episode of the Hand of the Day.
Hand of the Day.
I'm bringing you this one from the beautiful MGM in Maryland, where I just played an incredibly frustrating hand at 10-25 no limit. I'd love to share with you guys, and I'd love to hear you guys rip me in the comments below, so feel free. This one is an interesting hand. I raise under the gun to $75. I just get moved to a 10-25 game, and the big blind, who I had met before the session, a good solid pro, calls. We go heads up to the flop, which is King Queen 3 with King Queen of diamonds. I flop middle set, which is essentially the nuts. My opponent can't have me beat at this point because he would have 3-bet pre-flop with kings. So I have the nuts, which is beautiful. He checks. I decide to bet the pot. I bet 150. It's sort of a dryish board, and I want to just build the pot as much as I can. We're like 8K deep or 7K deep or whatever. He check raises to 650, which is unexpected. It's a very big raise. I have 3 of the 4 queens, so the only value hands he can really have here are King Queen, which is rare because I have 3 queens, pocket 3s, or King 3 suited, or Queen 3 suited. Other than that, he has a draw, which is something like the nut flush draw, or maybe he has like Jack 10 with a backdoor flush draw. Maybe he just has Jack 10 and he wants to rep diamonds on the turn. But there's definitely a lot of draws in his range and not as much value in his range. So because of that, I decided to 3-bet the flop to 1650. Even though I'm in position and I could slow play, I just feel like he's not gonna fold to a 3-bet with any of his draws. And given that that's the most likely hand, I wanna build a pot now and charge him, because I have a very vulnerable hand. If the draw comes, I don't really want to risk losing a big pot and letting him get there cheaply. So I decided to 3-bet the flop, which is a play I don't normally do, but I really want to build the pot and charge him as much as possible. He opts to call, and we take a turn. The turn comes a king, bringing a backdoor flush draw. I have a full house at this point, so I'm loving my spot. I mean, I guess King 3 got there and King Queen got there, and my hand isn't the nuts anymore like it was on the flop. But at the same time, if he does have a flush draw, he's drawing absolutely dead, or if he has a straight draw, he's drawing dead. He checks the turn, and I decide to check back. And I think checking back is a great play here on my part, because it's what I would do if I was bluffing. If I was bluffing this board with something like ace-jack or diamonds, this turn is way too risky for me to bet again. If I did have something like aces where I was 3-betting for value, I'm also going to check back this turn. So checking back does multiple things. Keeps my range balanced, which is really important. It also allows my opponent to stay in the pot with all of his worst hands, and it allows him to either A, bluff the river if he misses, or B, catch up and hit a flush or a straight and allow me to bust it. The river comes a 3. Not bringing any of the flushes. So now the board is King, Queen, King, 3, and I get counterfeited if he has a king. He bets 2850, which is close to the size of the pot, which is a really tough spot for me. On the surface, it feels like I should just fold here, but if you really think about how the hand went down, I think it's pretty much impossible that my opponent has a dry king. In other words, I don't think a king, like King X, like King 10, King Jack, Ace King, are in his range, because he wouldn't play those hands this way on the flop. If we could discount a hand from our opponent's range at any time, it means he can't have that hand on the river. So the fact that he wouldn't check raise the flop with something like King 10 and then call a 3-bet means he can't have this hand on the river. So when he bets the pot on the river, I basically think he's very polar. I think he has hands like King Queen, King 3, or pocket 3s for quads, or he has bluffs. Now, what I did in this spot is something that I recommend everyone doing, and I talk about this more at consciouspoker.com. I created an awesome free download for you guys. If you enter your name and email, click the link below. I'll send you guys an awesome video that explains this in much further detail, as well as other awesome free content about how I hand read and make decisions at the poker table. But in short, I'm basically counting up the amount of bluffs he has, weighing those versus the amount of value bets he has, and then calculating my pot odds and figuring out if I have the right price. Now, if he only can have hands like King, Queen, King 3, and pocket 3s, there's very, very few combos of those hands. I mean, if you look at the cards on the board and I have Queen blockers, there's basically like 4 or 5 combos of value bets that he can even have in the first place. So he only has to be bluffing a very, very small percentage of the time for me to justify calling, given my pot odds. So I hem and haw for a while and finally end up calling. And I'm not frustrated that he turns over a hand that beats me, but what's frustrating to me is that he has a hand that I wasn't expecting him to have. So if he turned over something like King 3, I wouldn't really care that much because I'd be like, okay, it's part of his check raising range on the flop, it's part of his value betting range on the river, whatever, he happens to have it. But he turns over King Jack of clubs, which is like, holy shit, because it makes me think like, you know, he's value betting a lot more hands than I thought he was, which makes my call so much worse on the river. But I could never put him on that hand. So I ended up making a call that I think is profitable long term against the range he's supposed to have. But because he had a totally different range, I might have made a bad call against this opponent. Anyway, it's a really tough spot for me. I'm not that frustrated I lost, but I am a little bit frustrated that he had a hand I wasn't expecting. But anyway, that's poker. Love the game. I'm here to get better every day. And you know, after 13, 14 years, I'm still learning. So whatever. Anyway, I hope you liked the hand of the day. I'd love to hear your thoughts. How would you have played it? Would you have bet the turn in my spot? Would you have called the river? Let me know your thoughts in a comment below. If you like this video, subscribe to my channel, share it. I'd greatly appreciate that. And subscribe to my channel. Thank you guys. Appreciate your time. See you guys next time. Cheers.